homework assignment number 1, lesson 3. It's the good stinky rule. Let's go ahead and do a quick review of everything we've learned so far, put it all together. Number 1, lesson 1, we learned how to write a paragraph, topic, sentence, followed by details. Details will support the topic sentence. Then we learned lesson number 2, we learned the Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo says the same thing is going to be repeated throughout the passage. They're going to switch around the noun and the verb, so pay attention to that. We have to get good with the vocabulary and being able to identify that, hey, what they just said here somehow has to relate back to our topic sentence. You can't just start talking about stuff that's random inside the detail area here. It's got to somehow be related. So your goal is to try and connect it and relate back. The good stinky rule says this: as the author is writing details and topic sentences, which once again are personal opinions, they are going to select particular vocabulary words, and those vocabulary words will have some kind of a hidden flavor. The good stinky rule says anytime the author uses a word that's positive, you can put a plus above that word, and anytime it is negative, you can simply call that stinky and put a negative symbol above that. For example, if you said my apple was juicy, juicy would suggest positive. It sounds like it's fresh. My apple was a little stale. Stale suggests that the apple is negative. Good stinky rule. Let's go ahead and take a look at this particular paragraph. It is travelers of the past, the way that this is put together. Our topic sentence says, the explorer, subject, Marco Polo, and we need to find the verb, that's the noun, left his home in Italy. After many years of traveling, him and his party reached Kublai Khan, which is now part of China. So he, once again, his party, Scooby-Doo style, is Marco Polo, and reached and left basically say the same thing. When you leave, you're going to actually reach there. It's the same thing, using different words, using the Scooby-Doo from lesson number 2. We continue on. Polo remained at the court. The court is the Scooby-Doo for Kublai Khan. Why? Because Kublai Khan is a summer palace that was part of China back then. He marveled at things that he had not seen in Europe. Where did he marvel at them? In Kublai Khan. Go to the next paragraph. For example, we'll learn about these. These are called structural clues. We'll learn about that in the next lesson or two. People bathing in Europe, that's only for rich people. Roads were paved. All of this is details to support marveling. Marveling is the verb. He marveled at what happened in Kublai Khan. Come over here, people used paper money. That's another way of saying marveling about Kublai Khan. You come over here, the kingdom had a communication system. That is a marvel of Kublai Khan. See, it's the same thing we've learned earlier, kids. Polo returned back to Europe. It took a while for people to believe the stories he wrote about the exotic places. So Polo went to Kublai Khan. He marveled at all the cool things he saw there, and when he went back to Europe, the conclusion is people didn't really believe what he was telling them. Let's go ahead and take a look at the questions. When you come on down here and take a look at problem number 1. Problem number 1 says, which best reflects the writer's point of view? Process of elimination. We can go ahead and cross out answer choices that have the wrong tone. The writer's point of view, remember we said marvel. There's all kinds of cool stuff in Kublai Khan. So we know the writer thinks that Polo marveled at Kublai Khan. That all suggests a positive tone. If you see anything in there that's negative, we can go ahead and cross that out right away. Answer choice A, anticipation and finding out more with further research. Anticipation, you're anticipating more research. I feel like that doesn't really answer the question. Never really says anything about Kublai Khan. So let's go ahead and put a dot by that. We'll cross out for sure what we know is wrong right away, and then we'll come back and we'll look at some answer choices. That's usually what I do. B, social awkwardness, because Marco Polo was in exile from Italy. First of all, awkwardness is negative, and we know that the passage is positive because of marveling. So that's the wrong tone using the Scooby-Doo. Also, exiled from Italy, it never said that, so that is off topic. Let's cross that one out for sure. Answer choice C. Subjectively interested, that's positive, in early European explorers. Marco Polo was an early European explorer. So that's on track. And subjectively interested suggests positive tone, just like we did with Marvel. I like that one. Let's put a dot by that. And D says condemning Polo because of his treatment towards the new cultures. Condemning is negative. We can go ahead and cross that out because of the good stinky rule. And also, it never said anything about treatment, how he treated the new culture, so that's off topic. 2 reasons we can cross out answer choice D. Now we go back and we see that we have answer choice A and C. C said subjectively interested, and A says anticipation. This never really answers the question, so that one is out. C is the better answer choice for problem number 1. Let's go ahead, clear the screen, and we'll scroll on down to problem number 2. Problem 2. What title best fits this paragraph? Title is going to be a restatement of the topic sentence. The topic sentence says Marco Polo left Italy and traveled to Kublai Khan, saw cool things there, returned back to Italy, and told people, and people didn't really believe him. So the main subject is about Marco Polo traveling to Kublai Khan, seeing cool things. Let's go ahead and take a look at answer choice A. What Marco Polo was like. Never really talked about his personal characteristics, so that's off topic. It just simply talks about Polo going to Kublai Khan, seeing cool things. That's off topic. B, a lost ship captain. First of all, that sounds negative using the good stinky rule. We can cross it out for that reason. And second of all, it never really says that Polo got lost. Cross that one out. C, a bored traveler named Polo. Bored is negative. Using the good stinky rule, we can cross that one out. And let's check answer choice D, the adventures of Marco Polo. That is the correct answer. Why is D correct? Because it simply restates the topic sentence here, Marco Polo leaving home. Awesome. Let's go on and take a look at problem number 3. We'll scroll on down. And 3. Using the Scooby-Doo technique from lesson 2, what is another word for stories? If you look over here, stories is at the bottom down here. You see it says, while Polo finally returned to Europe, it took a while before people believed the stories that he had from his exotic travels. Some words that would be replaceable here, Scooby-Doo style. Tale. Tales from abroad. That would work. Adventures. That would work. Travel stories. That would work. Or travels. Or exploits. Anything that's going to say a positive tone. Exotic. Something like that. Tales, that's probably the word that I would use. Remember, we're trying to work on our vocabulary as we're going through this program because reading comprehension entails tons of vocabulary. We will run across words that we're not familiar with. We need to be able to understand that meaning of those words and also interchange them so we have some kind of a context. Let's move on. We'll scroll on down. We'll take a look at problem number 4 below. From this paragraph, you can conclude that. Conclusion is going to be at the bottom. Let's scroll on back to our paragraph up here. Quickly review. We have Marco Polo is the noun. The verb is left Italy and traveled to Kublai Khan and saw cool things that he marveled over. When he returned to Europe, people didn't believe his stories because they were so exotic. A conclusion have to be on track with that. Let's go ahead. Process of elimination. Start crossing answer choices out. Answer choice A. The paper money in Kublai Khan came from Europe. That was one of the things that he marveled over, but you can't really conclude that. Cross it out. B. Polo's book contained outrageous stories about odd cultures and traditions. That is the conclusion at the very bottom. Why? Because people weren't sure of that. Put a dot by that. C. Polo was bored with Europe. That's the reason he stayed in Kublai Khan for 17 years. That is negative. The passage is positive. That violates the good stinky rule. We can cross it out. D. Kublai Khan bred fast horses for communication systems. No, you can't conclude that because maybe they bought those horses for the communication systems from another city or another country, or maybe the horses were not fast. Never says anything about fast. So that's off topic. You can cross that out. The best conclusion is they were outrageous stories of odd cultures and traditions. That is why people had trouble believing. If you look back down over here, here is the conclusion. When Polo returned, it took a while before people believed the stories that he wrote about his exotic travels. That is basically a restatement off of that last sentence there. Once again, the best answer choice there is going to actually be answer choice B. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5, use the good stinky rule to find a word in the paragraph that is either positive or negative in tone. Let's go ahead and scroll on up and start using the good stinky rule as we learned in this lesson here. First things first, as we go through here, we're looking for words that have a positive or negative tone. First of all, let me get my red pen out here. I see that after many years of traveling, the party finally reached. When you finally reach somewhere after a long travel, that seems positive because you can get off the ship. Number 1. Number 2, we can go ahead and see the word marveled. That is a positive word as well. Good stinky. Moving along, we see that people were bathing daily. That is positive. And we see the word luxury. That is positive as well. Well-born. That is positive. When the roads are paved, that is positive. Highly efficient, that is positive. And it took a while before people believed, that is negative. So many options for us here using the good stinky rule. What did you select? Problem 6. In this particular paragraph, the word marveled on line 4 means what? First of all, we know the good stinky rule says positive and negative using plus and minus symbols. We've already learned that the word marveled is a positive word. We put a plus above that. The correct answer down here somehow is going to have to be positive. We can cross out answer choices that are negative using the good stinky rule. Let's go ahead and take a look at A. Showed dismay. Dismay is a negative word. We can go ahead and cross that out because it's negative. B says showed wonder. When you wonder, show some wonder. That seems positive. Put a plus by that. Question could be positive or negative. So let's hold off on that one. Dot by both of those. And D says disregarded. Disregarded is negative. We can cross that one out for sure. Now, it comes down to 2 choices. You'll see this very frequently. It's answer choice B and C in this case. Showed wonder or questioned. Let's go back up here and take a look and see which one shows question or which one shows wonder. He questioned at things not seen in Europe, or he showed wonder. When you show wonder, that feels a little bit more positive. Over here, you're seeing things that are happening in Kublai Khan that you haven't seen in Europe. So, wow, what? Kublai Khan has got this and Europe doesn't? Crazy. You're not really questioning, you're showing wonder. The best answer choice, therefore, for problem number 6 using the good stinky rule is answer choice B because it is the one that is closely related to the most positive. 6 is B. Kids, that's it for lesson number 3.1, the good stinky rule. Remember, whenever you see vocabulary words that you come across, you can always label them plus, minus, or in some cases, they may not have any tone, but no tone is still a tone because it's neutral. When it's neutral in the passage, the answer has to be neutral. That means you can cross out anything that's too strong, either positive or negative. That's it for this lesson. We'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.